So welcome back to my animation channel. Thanks very much for joining me. In the last video that I did from my studio here, it was a bit of a mess and I threatened to clear it up. So I just want to show you what it's looking at now. I'm going to try and swivel this around. Just stay with me. I may miss. There we go. Okay, so I've cleaned up this desk here. It's looking pretty shiny and clear and clean and new. I've hung the clock up, and yeah, my computer's over there because I'm looking through some work today, some physical work. And I also wanted to show you this light box that I got. It's a desktop light box and it's pretty magic. I got it quite a while ago. I haven't used it much, but I'm doing this with one hand, so please bear with me here. Somehow this goes under, or does it? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just sticks like that. And yeah, it's great. So you can trace away. Let's just grab some pens or pencils, and here's my little light box, which is pretty cool. I got this when I was doing a animation demonstration last year at a film festival. I haven't used it much since, but pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to pull out I'm going to go through this file. Let's just turn this off. It does spray a lot of light around. I'm just going to take you guys through one of my projects that I'm working on, and I will be working on next year. So just let's dive into that. So I just wanted to show you guys a project that I have in development. I wrote this about, sorry, I keep kicking the camera stand here. I wrote this about over 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago, and I've just never got to develop it. So, well, it's been written. I've got the script. I've storyboarded it. I've got all the characters. What I did with it was, at the time I was working with 3D Max, and I started to develop the story as 3D, in 3D, and I got reasonably far. I had the characters and some of the assets created, and I started to actually animate it. It was all very rough, and then I got dragged away from that to do other stuff. So I'm basically coming back to finish what I started almost 30 years ago. I think next year it'll be 30 years. So quite a long story with us. But it's a great little story. It's about these characters here in Africa and their adventures around the watering hole, except all the characters are talking characters, and they all have their own strong characters. And the idea with it is to create a initial short film. It's 8 minutes, and then use that as a pilot to take it into a series, because all the characters are strong enough to actually have well, it's built around one or two characters in this, but they certainly can have their stories told over many episodes. So the idea is to develop the 8 minute, and then take it from there. So I've got the script. As I say, this is very old stuff. Here's the village. I don't know how clearly you can see that. Here is a village that it's in the bit of a nook of a river, flamingos, setting sun. I actually had animated all this very roughly in 3D Max back in the day. Here's the bridge and the character cycling over the bridge. Here is the water hole, the watering hole, initial sketch. Here's one of the characters from the storyboards and a couple of the villains. A different angle, a couple of the characters and the villains. I had a lot of fun developing. This is I call it Bonesmobile. It's the car of the villains. A vulture and a hyena, who are the villains in the story. Some more rough sketch of the actual layout of the village. This is the sketch of the vulture, who's the main villain. There's a crocodile, a pet crocodile. So that's all been sketched out. This is one of the characters' houses, the entrance doors to the house. A very rough sketch of one of the characters, a hyena. There he is. And this is the hippo, who's also the barman. The vultures. Here I was working out the bone system for 3D animation. So I was working out where to place the bones and to animate this this vulture. Some more roughs of the hyenas. This is just some reference stuff. I did many trips up to Zimbabwe and to Namibia, and I've shot a lot of wildlife. And when I say shot, I don't mean with a gun. I'm not a maniac. With a camera. And so I've got a lot of that, plus postcards. And this was is a wonderful artist up in Zimbabwe, Rose Ridgen, and she does a lot of great characters, and I really liked her style. So a lot of the look, this is just amazing. She makes the animals, they all have human personalities, and this is what this movie is about as well. Not original. Disney's done it 1,000 times, but this is the story is very original, I think, anyway. So that's some of my influences there. Some of the mechanics of the animation. These were some of my characters, developing the characters here. Crocodile, there's the Bonesmobile, hyena, giraffe. I think that's a zebra. Elephant, lion, hippo. They're all there. And yeah, I was working at the time, and I was doing some engineering work, land surveying work, and there's actually a date here. This was paper from work. I was doing this during my lunch time and stuff. This is 1996. This is the last date on this, so it's almost 30 years ago. Amazing. So more development on the watering hole, just some very rough sketches. This is the interior of the watering hole. Here's the bar, dartboard. It's all open at the back here. Some drinks hanging, etc. Whoops, sorry, that way. Developed this a little further, gave it some color, and actually modeled this as well in 3D Max. There's one of the characters, the barman, the hippo. This is the bridge at the beginning of the scene. This is a bridge, and I actually got it from this, which I cut out of the paper back in the day. As I say, 30 years ago. It was for a adventure, a place called Rotanga Junction here in Cape Town, and they did some amazing development art for that. I met the guys who did it back in the time. They were also using 3D Max for a lot of their work for this Rotanga Junction here. So that inspired this. That's about all I got from their project inspiration-wise was this. It's also, I think at the time back in the day, Jurassic Park was coming out, and I think a lot of their work had a lot of Jurassic Park elements to it. So I think they borrowed, and I definitely borrowed from them as well. Look how I have copied even the background palm trees and stuff here, and that palm tree. So a little bit close. I've changed obviously, but the basic mechanics of this is a direct copy, if you want, from this design that they did. This is these are printouts of some of the modeling I was doing in 3D Max. This is called the watering hole. There's a sign there. This is, I've taken the walls out so you can see into the interior, so I could shoot into the interior. So dartboard, the TV. I was going to have sport on the TV. Here's the bar and all the seating around it. This changed a lot to later when I was thinking this through later. I don't know how clearly you can see that. And obviously this as far as I got was the modeling. This was the beginning of the the scene, these were some of the very first shots I did. These are just printouts from the 3D models. So I've got my pink flamingos going over the river into the sunset. There's that bridge I just showed you, and there's one of the characters. So you can see it's very, very rough. These were very early days of me in 3D Max. There's some reference. I love doing this. This was a 3D bicycle that I built. I built this up, I modeled it. He's got a coffee jug in there with his cup on it. He's got a bell. I think he's got a bell. I enjoyed this. This is when I realized I've got a very technical bent when it comes to illustration and animation. I enjoyed this thing, and I had it. I had it working. I had the character on it pedaling down the street, so it worked. It was quite amazing. All that animation, unfortunately, I've lost over the years. I mean, this honestly was almost 30 years ago. It would be absolutely useless anyway, but I wish I had, some video files or whatever, if not the original files, because that'd be useless. But I just wish I had kept some of it. But I've had so many computers over the years, and I've lost so much. Just some reference. Yeah, and so I modeled also the Bonesmobile that I showed the sketch of earlier. That's it in 3D Max. So this was all ready to go. The idea is that when it starts up, those are ribs, actual ribs from an animal, and when it starts up, it shakes and vibrates like this, and the whole thing's quite loose and moves. The Bonesmobile. So that was modeled in 3D Max. There's one of the characters modeled in 3D Max. You can see it all breaking up here. I was quite new to 3D Max back in the time, but I was certainly learning fast. Here's some of the storyboards from it. I've got the whole storyboard somewhere. Here's the script, another version of the script, and yeah, here's the hanger. So I've got more of this in a box over there. I've got the whole storyboard somewhere, and I've got various iterations of the script that's been done. And basically here on my laptop, I've got my whole development going forward. We're here in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. So going forward for about 8 years. And this is the project I'm working on one at the moment, which is obviously the paint on Safari, but this will be coming up next because I think I've put 30 years is a lot, is enough of a break on it. So let me just try and turn the camera around so you can see me as I talk out here. Okay, there I am there. Hi. Yeah, so I think 30 years is enough time to wait, almost 30 years. So I'm definitely putting this project in after the Safari movie. It will be the next in line, and I've got, I think I said 9. It depends how many. There's probably 13, but I'd say 9 projects. So this will be the second after the Safari, and then there's a whole lot more. So yeah, this is just a quick walkthrough, and I wanted to show you my my cleaned up desk. It can be done. Last time I showed, when I did the studio walkthrough, the place was such a mess. So the rest of the studio is pretty much the same, but I've cleaned up the desk here. So if I just unattach here, and hopefully I don't turn this video off, yeah, and how do you do this? Sorry, I'm not that good at this. Okay. So yeah, so this is how it's looking now. It's looking a whole lot clearer. Hung the clock on the wall. Still have to get a light for my lava lamp. And you can see it's a beautiful desk. This desk, as I say, I've had for over 30 years now. with all my junk off it, you can actually see it's a lovely workspace. Sorry, let me just push this thing in there. And yeah, it's I've I've got lots more of my work down there, and it's in the cupboards behind me. I just needed to get organized, and I'll probably get a lot more organized as well. But what I love, and when I say organized, I mean with all my artwork, my stories that are on hard, it's all on paper. So it has to be filed away and stored. But what I love about this desk, just getting back to this desk, it was a office desk. I've shown it to you before. It's got the 6 drawers, 3 on each side, and it's got these wonderful little pull-outs here. But what I love about it is that it's just big. It's so big. So I can spread out. Like today I've put the computer over there so I can actually work on the physical and go through some of the stuff. And then when I'm working, I can just put the computer back there and carry on working. So I really love this desk. It's probably going to be with me forever till the end of my days. So yeah, it's just, I love it because it's big and it's strong and it's been with me for a long time. Okay, super. I just wanted to update the studio situation and to also show you one of my projects, which is what I'll be working on next after the Safari movie. Thanks very much for dropping in once again. Keep on animating out there, and I will see you again soon. All the best. Bye.